Have you ever stopped to wonder why we lump together this huge chunk of the world, all the way from Morocco to Iran, and just call it MENA? You know, the Middle East and North Africa? It's a term we hear all the time, but what's the real connection? Well, let's get into it.
I mean, really think about it for a second. What could possibly connect the Atlantic beaches of Morocco with the rugged mountains of Iran? It's such a massive, diverse part of the world.
The answer isn't just one single thing. It's more like a story that's been woven together over thousands of years from these three major threads: a shared culture, a really defining climate, and a very modern struggle over some of the planet's most important resources. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the cultural glue. This is the foundation, right? It's a shared identity that's been built over millennia, and it's a huge reason why we can even talk about this place as a single region. And these cultural threads are all tangled together in some fascinating ways. For starters, you've got language. Arabic is dominant, and that creates this huge zone of communication. Then there's religion, with Islam being the majority faith, which means traditions and holidays like Ramadan are shared across so many borders. The region also has this incredible common heritage, looking back to ancient giants like Mesopotamia and the great Islamic caliphates. You even see it in the traditional lifestyles, with nomadic peoples like the Bedouins and the Berbers sharing these amazing, time-tested ways of living in the desert.
So that's the human side of the story. But you can't really understand this region without understanding the land itself. And if there is one single physical reality that defines life here, it's that this is an arid world.
Get this, almost 75% of the entire MENA region gets less than 10 inches of rain per year. Just let that sink in. That extreme dryness has shaped literally everything, from how buildings are designed to what people wear to entire ways of life. And this has led to some absolutely brilliant adaptations over the centuries. You see it in the architecture, right? Thick walls, high ceilings, shady courtyards, all designed to manage the intense heat. You see it in the clothing, light-colored robes that reflect the sun. And you even see it in entire lifestyles, like the seasonal migrations that people have practiced forever to escape the most extreme temperatures.
Now, that constant dryness means one resource becomes more valuable than anything else. So let's talk about the ancient lifeblood of this entire region: water.
The central challenge here is something called water scarcity. It's pretty simple. It's when the demand for fresh water is way, way bigger than the available supply. And it's a problem that's only getting more serious, thanks to a mix of environmental changes, growing populations, and new economic demands.
And here's the crazy part. This enormous region relies almost entirely on just two major lifelines for its water. You have the Nile River system over in the west and the Tigris and Euphrates system in the east. That's pretty much it. So it's probably not a surprise that control over these rivers has been a huge source of tension for centuries.
But people here have always been incredibly resourceful. Long before we had modern dams or anything like that, they developed the qanat, and this thing is an absolute marvel. Basically, rain and snowmelt would gather underground near mountains. People figured out how to drill shafts down to tap into that water, and then, this is the brilliant part, they dig a gently sloping tunnel, sometimes for miles, that use nothing but gravity to carry that fresh water to towns and farms out in the desert. Just amazing.
Okay, so from the ancient source of life, let's pivot to the modern source of power: oil.
This is the discovery that completely changed the game in the 20th century. Turns out, the MENA region is sitting on the world's largest proven reserves of oil and natural gas, which basically put it right at the heart of the modern global economy.
And you can literally watch this power shift happen over a few decades. In the early 1900s, it was all Western companies controlling the drilling. Then, by 1960, the major oil-producing countries got together and formed OPEC to take back some of that control. And then, bam, in the 1970s, OPEC flexed its muscles, cut production, and triggered the world's first global oil crisis, showing everyone just how much geopolitical power they now had.
So here we have it. The two defining resources of the region, side by side. On one hand, you have water. It's ancient. It's the source of all life. It's scarce, but it's renewable. On the other hand, you have oil. It's modern. It's the source of immense wealth. It's been abundant, but it's finite. So much of the region's modern story is defined by that tension right there.
So, what does this all mean for what's next? Well, this deep reliance on scarce water and finite oil creates a shared, and let's be honest, a deeply uncertain future for pretty much everyone living there.
And the pressures on the environment are just immense.
We're talking about desertification, where good fertile land turns into desert, and that's happening in every single MENA country except for Turkey. We're talking about deforestation. You know, the famous ancient cedar forests of Lebanon, they're almost gone. And of course, there's resource depletion, as ancient oases dry up, and the whole idea of peak oil, the point where production starts to decline for good, is a very real concern for the economy.
So when you boil it all down, the story of MENA really is a story of adaptation. For thousands of years, it was all about adapting to the scarcity of water. Now, and for the foreseeable future, it's all about adapting to the future of oil and a rapidly changing climate.
And that leaves us with one final and pretty critical question. In a world with limited resources and an even tougher climate on the horizon, how are the people of the Middle East and North Africa going to engineer their next chapter?